Hi my creative friends, Dennis here and welcome back to my channel. As mentioned on the last video, I've started a realistic art curriculum with Evolve Artists. Now they mostly focus on realistic oil paintings, but they also do emphasize the fundamentals. Now depending on your speed, the curriculum usually takes about 1 to 2 years, and they divide it into 8 classes which they call blocks. And it starts, from the very basics until you get all the way up to the advanced oil painting. So what I'm going to do here for the foreseeable future is document all my experiences with taking the class and also show you how I do the homework and my thoughts on it and any feedback I get from the instructors about it. Now the first video will be the unboxing of the material you get for Block 1 and Block 2. Block 1 mostly concerns the fundamentals of oil painting, and Block 2 will also include some drawing fundamentals. So let's go ahead and check out what's in the box. Now what we have here is the linseed oil. You use this to mix the actual paints with the oil, because oil paints you would have to mix it with oil because the pigment itself is not really made to be painted straight onto the canvas. You would have to mix it with oil. Now the clove oil is similar to linseed oil but has a lot longer drying time. I usually use clove oil with my paintings because I don't finish the painting in one sitting. The clove oil will allow you to paint over a couple of days with the same set of paints. Now the palette knife is used for mixing the paint and the oil. For sight measuring, I haven't used it yet. Measuring tape. The dropper is important because you use that to mix the oil into the paint. Now here we go with the paint brushes. We have a pair of number 12 brushes, which is the biggest one, a bunch of number 6 brushes, which is the workhorse, the main brush you'll be using in the course, and a couple of smaller brushes, which is the number 2. Now here we are with the paint. We have 4 colors here that we'll be using. The first is the extreme light, then the moderate light, then the moderate shadow, and the extreme shadow. We'll only be using 4 paints for the entire portion of the Block 1 and Block 2, and to get other variations we'll mix some of the paint together. So total you'll be using 7 colors for the first couple of blocks only. 7 values of gray. Now we use this for the palette. It's a disposable palette, so it's a lot easier than having the regular palette where you have to wash it all the time. You just put your paint on there, and then when you're done, you just throw it out. Now these photographs are, since we're not going to be in an actual live classroom situation, most of the work for the earlier blocks will be using photos as a reference. We won't be painting them exactly as the photos are. We'll be making them more of an abstract look. And once we get into the assignments, I'll explain how that works. Now these are the assignment checklists. each assignment will have you go through a certain checklist to make sure that you meet all the requirements before moving on to the next part of that same assignment. So you follow the instructions with the specific steps. Now after each step, you want to make sure that certain things are accomplished before you move on to the next step. And that's what these assignment sheets are for, to make sure that you've done all the proper things before moving on to the next part. Now for these earlier assignments, most of them you'll be just using transfer paper to transfer them onto the canvas. And the first two assignments, they're not even art, they're just more like exercises, where you're just practicing filling in squares and doing gradients. But the later assignments, you'll see here that they are an outline of the photographs I showed you earlier, and you'll be transferring those onto the canvas with transfer paper. Now eventually, once you get into the more advanced blocks, you won't be doing this method anymore. You'll be doing a lot of this stuff will be actual live observation of objects, and you'll either be drawing them yourself and using the transfer method, or not even drawing them at all, just painting straight onto the canvas. They want to make it as easy as possible for the beginner. Concentrate on teaching the student how to observe different value types. That's why the paint is only grayscale, because we're only practicing the value of different shapes. Now here's the carbon paper we use for transfer, and these are the actual canvas, 9 by 12, and we just tape these onto a board onto your easel. And that's all the material we have for block 1 and block 2. Now I'm actually a bit farther along in this video because it takes me a while to do the editing, but if you want to see my latest progress, either check out my community tab here on YouTube or look at my social media. And I usually post daily the different exercises that I do, and I post the completed assignments as well as my thoughts on it. And stay tuned soon for assignments 1 and 2. Alright everybody, take care and God bless.